Okay guys, starting right away with your feet parallel, you're going to start squatting those hips back over the heels and pressing it up. Hands are in prayer to start. They can stay here or you can add that YV. Your arms going long as you sit those hips back, increase the mobility in those shoulders. If you feel pinching in your lower back, keep those hands in prayer. Warm-up purposes start to increase the blood flow, get your heart rate up, get those muscles ready to work. You bring your hands back to prayer, keep your hips low, and you're going to step in and then out. Step in and back to wide. Keep your hips low, keep your core drawing in. Try to keep your spine in neutral by drawing that core in. And then when you finish, you're going to have your feet nice and wide and you're going to drop into a side lunge. Keep your hands in prayer to start, and then you can add a little rotation. As you bend, you're going to rotate that opposite elbow to the inside of that knee. Remember here, it's important you're working in that bending leg, opposite leg stays straight, and you're really dropping the hips back over the heel. Now you can open up and reach into a nice rotation if you want. Bring those hands back to prayer and then work the opposite direction. Once you're ready, you can start adding that rotation to that side lunge. If it doesn't feel good, do not rotate. Just keep with the side lunge and the hands right in front of you in your chest. And you're gonna pause. Maybe look up to the sky, maybe reach your arms into that T position, open in the chest, and then bring your hands back to prayer and stand it up. This next movement is gonna be a variation of a burpee. It's a slow burpee. You're gonna step it out and then step it back in and stand up. Hands right under the shoulders. You're going to reach those legs back long into a plank, and then you're going to step the feet back in behind those hands, dropping the hips, keeping the spine long, and then stand it up by squeezing through those legs. If it's too much, you don't have to go quite as deep with the hips. You can bring those feet maybe a little less, maybe half the distance, but really if you pull those knees in right behind those elbows, you're going to get a nice stretch in your hips. Opening, and then squeeze and press it up. And that's it. Nice job. You can roll up. I have a glider because I'm on a carpeted outdoor carpet here, but you can also use a sock on a hardwood floor or a paper plate. And then I have light weights, about 3 pounds here, but you could use water bottles or whatever you have. We're going to go straight into a ski slope lunge. You're going to reach the leg that has that glider underneath the ball of your foot. You're going to reach it straight back. I'm keeping my back leg as straight as I can, and I'm working all in that front leg. You're going to bring the weight into your front heel and press up. This is my weak side, so I'm really wobbly as I start to tip over. And you'll usually have one side that's a little bit weaker, maybe harder for your balance, which is normal. Now with my arms, you can either keep your weights in at prayer if it bothers your shoulders, or you can sweep them up, my palms face in, and then as I stand, they're sweeping down to my side. So go to whatever your pain-free range is. You might be going deeper, you might not be quite as deep in your lunge. Here's the variation for your arms if those bother your shoulders. Reach those arms forward and really think of lengthening through the body, and then press up through that front heel. My knee is never going to come over my toes. And now we're going to go to the half range. You're going to bring your hands down, and then you're going to press them back, palms face up. You're going to reach that back leg all the way back to your deepest range, and then halfway in. All your weight is in that front leg. Lots of work here. Breathe through it. You got it. If at any time you need to come up a little higher to take a break, that's fine. Now we're going to add some pulses. Arms are going to stay long and try to keep them up behind you. You're going to press those palms up, and you're going to try to just bend and lift up an inch and down an inch. And now you're going to hold it static with the legs, and you're going to sweep the arms forward, palms face in, back, palms face up. Keep your arms long, keep your neck long here, eyes looking just ahead of your foot, and remember to keep that knee in line with your ankle. That front knee should never come over your toes. And then go ahead and stand up nice and slow. That leg's gonna be pretty tired. Shake it out or stretch if you need to. And then we're gonna go on the other side. Glider under the ball of the foot, heel is lifted. And we're gonna start with that full range. So you're gonna reach that leg back long. Your knee, you're gonna look down at that front foot foot, make sure that knee does not travel over your toes, and you're gonna press through that front heel. Find your balance first. Draw your ribs in, your navel in. As your arms sweep overhead, make sure your ribs stay in. Don't let them pop open. Keep the spine long and the neck right off the spine. Reach that leg back, press up through the front heel. This is really good work for our knees, our ankles, anytime we're working one leg. Now we're gonna go that half range. So you're gonna go to your deepest range, and those weights are gonna come right in front of those shoulders. And then as you press up halfway, those weights are gonna come back. Try to get them back behind the body. Palms are gonna face up to the sky. Inhale through the nose as you come down, exhale up. Heart rate's gonna raise as this intensity increases. Now we're going into pulses. You try to do about 8 pulses and then come up out of it nice and slow. And next we're going to a wide step. You can get a stretch here. Stretch out through those hips. Do a figure 4 stretch. Take one ankle, cross it over. Good balance stretch too. If you need to, hold on to a wall or a chair. And you're gonna sit those hips back over that standing heel and open that bent knee, externally rotate and open it. Nice deep breaths, regain that heart rate, slow it down, recover. Before we get into our next movement, you're gonna have a nice wide V stance. So your toes are turned out slightly, heels in. Your posture is gonna stay tall here. We're gonna add a lateral side raise with those arms as you sit those hips down. When you come down, I don't want those knees again to travel over your toes. You should try to keep your knees and ankles in alignment. And you're gonna imagine yourself sliding down a wall. Posture's gonna stay tall, chest open, shoulders down, especially as those weights float up. Try not to let those shoulders come up towards those ears. Inhale down, and you're gonna exhale, press into the heels, squeeze into that leg to lift it up. You're gonna hold it all the way down at your deepest range, rotate your palms up. Now as you come up halfway, you're gonna draw the elbows into your ribs, and then as you come down to your deepest range, your arms are gonna lengthen out. If it bothers your arms at all, you can change your range of motion. Same thing with those knees and hips. If it bothers, you're gonna stay up higher. So you're gonna hold it here, you're gonna pop one heel up. We're gonna do both sides, so it doesn't matter which one. The opposite arm's gonna static hold out, and then that leg with the heel popped up, you're gonna sweep that arm up. My palm's gonna face forward the whole time. Sorry you can't see it as it comes up. Then if you like, you're gonna add a little pulse or keep holding it static. So I'm gonna pulse up 2 as my arm travels up, and 2 as it comes down. And then you're gonna bring that arm up level with the shoulder and switch it up. Opposite heel pops up, and now you're gonna sweep that arm up. And if it bothers that opposite shoulder, you can bring your elbow into your side, or if you can, keep it up. Nice soft elbow in that static arm. And then as that arm sweeps up and overhead, you're gonna rotate your palms, gonna face forward. Hold it out, and then you can add that pulse. So legs are burning here. Breathe through it. Shoulders are tired. A lot of work. Heart rate's coming up. Go ahead and come up out of it slow. Get a nice stretch. Forward fold. You can soften your knees here if you need to. Drop your hips, maybe stretch those hips, and then roll it up or reach it up. Bring your feet together. And we're going to take those weights, place them down. And I have shoes on. If you're barefooted, you might not want to stand on weights. You could stand on pillows maybe, but I'm gonna prop my heels up, kind of like you're in a high heels. You're gonna have a neutral spine. I'm gonna reach for my feet, keeping my knees in a soft bend. Get a nice long stretch. Then I'm gonna come down, bring my hands to prayer. I'm gonna come to a nice long spine. I'm gonna drop my hips towards my heels and then reach my hips up. Drop my hips and reach. So I'm bending in my knees, and then my legs are extending. Lots of work in the back of the leg here, hamstrings. Make sure if it bothers your knees, you do not drop your hips as low. And change your range of motion. My back is staying straight. I'm not folding in my spine or rounding or curving in my spine. My upper body's staying the same. And go ahead and step off of the weights. Now we're gonna do some lower leg work. If you need a chair or standing next to a wall for balance, go ahead and grab that. I'm gonna have my heels together, toes turned out in a narrow V, and I'm gonna roll up onto the balls of my feet. Again, if you're barefoot, it's gonna be a little bit different with your balance. I'm gonna roll up, full range here. Make sure as you come up, you do not break or let your ankles fall out. Keep your ankles nice and strong. It's great work for ankle strength and foot mobility. Hold it up and you're gonna do pulses. You're gonna go halfway down and up, so it's a little quicker here. Try to keep your knees in a soft bend. You're gonna pause, hold your heels up, and if you're holding on to something, reach your arms up overhead for balance and then bring them down. Now we're gonna try to do a single leg. If it bothers you, you can bring that back toe down, but try to bring one foot up and you're gonna roll onto the ball of your foot. So a lot more work here in that single leg work. Roll up. Now switch it out. I think I did about 8. Switch it to the other side. Again, if you need to hold on to a chair or the wall, you're gonna do full range. Try to come up all the way as high as you can. Again, here, I'm gonna show you a variation. You can bring that back foot, toe to the floor, just to provide a little stability and a little help, because these are pretty intense for those lower legs. Go ahead and stretch it out. You can reach one leg back, stretch out through that calf muscle. Switch it up. And we're gonna get ready to go to the floor. So if you wanna pause and grab your mat, you can do that. If you have a circle band, you can also grab one of those, or a loop band. It would be great to use for the next series on the floor. Okay, now we're on the ground and I have a mat under me and I slip my shoes off. I do have a loop band here, or a circle band. I'm gonna step through. If you don't have one, you could tie a long exercise band into a loop, or just do it without. It's gonna be a little less. You're gonna come down to your knees. You're gonna come down to your elbows, right underneath your shoulders, press your forearms, and you're gonna start to lift one knee. Try to get it up to about hip height. You're gonna draw your core in to try to keep that back nice and long and still. So I'm squeezing it into my glute. I'm not arching or swaying into my lower back. And I'm also going to keep my neck nice and long right off my spine. A lot of times people drop the head here and it starts to bother their neck. I'm going to keep my ribs pulling into midline, and I'm going to think of pressing my foot up to the ceiling or the sky, keeping that 90-degree angle in my knee and my heel. And now I'm going to go out to the side. I'm doing 8 counts and then an 8 count down, so 8 out to the side. I'm using my obliques here to hold my body in, and then I'm going to add a kick. Lift, kick, pull the heel back in, and the knee down. Option to do that. If that's too much, just keep going with that side leg lift. I'm going to turn and look as that leg reaches out. I'm reaching through my heel as I kick that leg out. Now I'm going to come up. I'm going to come into a plank position. I'm going to tap it out side to side. I'm going to start on my right side here, tap out 8 times, keeping everything pulling in nice and tight, my ribs pulling in, and now I'm going to reach out with my left leg 8 times, center, and then really try to reach out. Tap, pull that leg back to center, drop the knees, come back to your elbows. We're going to go to the other side, starting with those leg lifts. Keep that knee in a 90-degree angle, that ankle, and try to press up. Keeping that lower back safe by drawing the core in and just squeezing into the glute, not swaying or dropping in that lower back. Neck is long, ribs pulled in, and exhale as you press that foot up and squeeze, and then inhale as that knee sweeps down right next to the standing knee. Now I'm going to go out to the side for 8, keeping that knee bent. And if you want, you can add on to that variation. After your 8, you're going to kick out and pull it in reach the heel out, lengthen the leg, bend, and then drop the knee back in. I'm turning and looking at that foot as I kick it out, trying to keep my body stable. It's going to help with your mobility a little bit. And then I'm going to come back up after 8. I'm going to rotate into some core work. If you have weights or water bottles, you can use them. You have option to not use them. I'm keeping the band on here, but you can also take a band off if you have one or you don't need one. I'm going to sit up tall and I'm going to draw my navel in, tuck my sit bones underneath, and curl back. I'm going to hold this position here. I'm going to reach the weights out and pull them into my chest. Reach out, pull them in. I have my notes here on my iPad. If you want a copy, I'd be happy to send them to you. Kind of went off of them a little bit, but if you want them and you can read them, you're welcome to have them. I'll email them to you. Now you're going to breathe the arm up and down. So it's called earthquake position because you should start to shake, holding this deep scooped out position with the core. I'm going to lift one arm at a time, and now I'm going to open those weights out and pull them back right in front. Just a little crunch here as the weights come forward into my sides. Now I'm going to reach my legs out, get a stretch here. Shouldn't be feeling it in your back at all. If you do, you can prop yourself up with a small pillow or a small ball behind your lower back, between your back and the floor, to kind of help keep you lifted. And that'll take any kind of pain out of that lower back. Now we're going to come all the way down. Option to have the weights here. We're going to reach out, and then as you come up, you're going to pull one knee in. Can't see because this is not the best recording, but my legs are hovering. I'm going to draw my knee in, and then I'm going to reach my legs long, but they're still hovering. Option or variation is keep your knees bent at tabletop. It's going to take a little pressure if you feel it in your lower back. Because as I come up, I'm going to think of really drawing my navel down to the ground to get my body to lift up into that forward flexion. If you have the band around those legs, you're really going to fight that long leg pulling in as you bend that knee in towards your chest. Try to keep that long leg anchored out. And you're going to sweep those arms down, and then you're going to hold it there, come up. Option to get a stretch. I'm going to slide my band off here. You can keep yours on if you'd like. And we're going to go into a little bit more of a rotation. You're going to bring the weights into your chest, palms face in. You're going to tuck, scoop, and hollow out as you curl back. And I'm going to rotate and then push the weights out back into my chest and rotate the opposite way. Push and rotate. Not doing a great job of it here, but you want to try to keep your knees parallel and still. You see how one of my knees is lifting up as I rotate? You want to try to keep that from happening. You're going to rotate through that thoracic spine instead of your pelvis rotating. So keep drawing that navel in and try to keep those knees nice and still. Now I'm going to lengthen my arm out, and I'm going to do a bow and arrow pull here. I'm pulling my elbow straight back. My eyes are following that elbow back towards the floor. You don't have to go all the way to the floor. You're inhaling and then exhale. Go ahead and get a stretch. You're going to roll up. Set those weights to the side. You're going to flip it over into a prone position, which means lying on your stomach. Really important here to find your alignment in that lower back. You want to really think of drawing the navel in and up away from the floor, and at the same time you're going to think of just tucking the tailbone slightly and grounding those hip bones down towards the mat, keeping them square to the mat. We're going to start with alternating opposite leg and arm lifts. Make sure as your thigh lifts away that you keep that slight tuck in your tailbone so that that lower back stays safe. Shouldn't have any lower back pain here. And I'm alternating arm and legs. If having your arms stretched out long bothers you, you can bring them into a goalpost position. Now I'm going to bring my body up, and I'm going to start to flutter kick my feet and swim through with my arms. So as my arms sweep back, my chest's gonna get up a little higher. Then you're gonna bring your hands back through underneath those shoulders, reach them out, and then bring them right back underneath your shoulders. You're gonna press all the way up, down, reach out, lift up. Hands under your shoulders, tuck your toes, press up. If you need to, come to your knees, reach the arms long, reach the thighs and arms up from the ground, and back down. Or to your knees. So you're doing a push-up, come down, reach the arms and legs long, lift up, that full Superman, and then down. Now I'm gonna do a Superman with a swerve. These ones are pretty hard. You're gonna try to roll onto one side using your core. I'm gonna show you a variation if this is too much, and then you're gonna balance your side. So variation would be to bring one arm underneath your shoulder and bend one leg, that top leg, to roll. But this is a good way to build up to getting that core strength to rotating, and it's a good thing to try. See if you can roll onto one side without using those hands or those legs, just using core. Go ahead and sit back in child's pose. You're gonna tuck your toes under, lift your knees away, roll into a ball here, get a nice stretch, lengthen those legs to a forward fold. Inhale here. You're gonna exhale, roll it up through the spine. And that's it. Hopefully you could see. I know it's kind of tough. That's why I try to do the voiceover so that you guys can hear, and hopefully it's a good workout. I think I burned, about 200 calories in 25 minutes. So if you do it twice, you'll be pretty tired. All right, bye.